Panic in the mental hospital. There was a panic in the mental hospital. The doctor and all the staff were running towards ward number 7. Seeing them running like this, the patients became agitated. They all pushed each other and started running to one side. Seeing the patients scared, Dr. Nasir stopped at once and calmed them down together with Sister Jamila and returned to the other room. His death was confirmed. All the doctors were surprised and worried, trying to find out the reason for his death, but no one could understand how this could happen suddenly. There was no injury on his body, nor was he mentally ill, nor did he put a noose around his neck, meaning the heart was missing from the body. This heartbreaking news scared all the staff, including all the doctors, was done. 3 strange colored threads were stuck in Syra's mouth, about whom no one knew, nor did any visitors come to see Syra during this time. Then these threads... Unfortunately, despite having relatives of Syra, no one ever came to meet her. She was admitted to this hospital for 3 months, but no one didn't notice. Except the police came to know about Dr. Syra through them. But for Dr. Nasir, it was just a strange story, or a twisted story, which he did not take into account when he heard the superstition of the people. He was a prayerful and pious person. He remembered. When he saw Syra for the first time, he was shocked. There was definitely something special in it that he could feel, but could not know. While working in another department, his inclination was broken, but as soon as he came to this side, he did not forget to look towards ward number 7. Because he could not give any name to his inclination towards Syra, he stopped for a while due to lack of time. Would go on. Even today, he went out for the round. Then the news struck him that Syra had died, but her death was not natural. It was not uncommon for the heart to disappear from inside the body. That too, without any clear sign or evidence. There was a need for something that frightened the staff as well. Out of curiosity, Dr. Nasir told someone without Syra. They left for the old neighborhood. He had to figure it out quickly. Secondly, they wanted to know why she was deprived of this relationship despite her relatives. Now, apart from this secret, they also had to bury him. Entering the streets of the middle class, Dr. Nasir looked right and left at the house in front of him. It was closed, but for the same resemblance, another house was seen on the corner of the street. Maybe it was a relative of Syra. Thinking this, he went ahead to make further inquiries. He didn't have to wait long before the loud sound of the bell. The person who opened the door was very handsome, with a long, rainy beard, white light shining on his face, eyes full of intelligence, in which there was a special kind of wisdom. Dr. Nasir was very impressed by his personality. Dr. Nasir explained the reason for coming to introduce himself, on which he felt that the innocent person was trying to invite him inside. After some pause, he finally entered the room with Dr. Nasir and sat on the sofa. Dr. Nasir had clearly felt the disgust on his face, but today he was overpowered by the curiosity to know about Syra. The university library was open today. Hara, Samina, and Syra chose today to prepare for the exam. The 3 friends entered the library with bags on their shoulders, where the student of Akkad was seen sitting. He had a strong hope that there would be more rush today due to the exam, but instead of being happy, a few people in the library were worried instead of being happy. They came to their senses when the dim shadows of the evening had spread 400 times, and Samina made them both realize that it was going to be sunset. Now we must go. On his words, both of them quickly started to close the books because the library was empty and all 3 of them were alone. Hurry out for the 3 bags. Hey, wait. Syra immediately looked inside the bag and said, I forgot to put the diary on the table. Some points have been noted in it that I will go home and prepare and come back with me. You go, Syra. This is what we are both waiting for, Hara replied, standing at the door of the university. I am alone at the moment. Syra is worried nothing happens. Samina yawns and stares at her. She is very tired. Go run and bring her." "Both of you." He stared and made a face and stepped inside. Both saw him turning left and right. Seeing the bench placed near the door, he calmly lay down towards it. "Samina, you noticed? There were no students in the library today. Although everyone knows that the exam is on, and it is surprising that there was no librarian except the guard. Did you find anything strange?" Hara asked nervously. "Yes, I have seen and felt that it is not true that the holiday is for this ghost. Who lives in the library?" Samina made a scared face and looked at Hara. "Is it true that no one comes to the university that day and we came? Somewhere in truth?" Hara stopped talking and looked at him with frightened eyes. Seeing Hara's eyes wide open with terror, Samina's laughter echoed. "Hey man, you are so timid. There is no such thing. There are fabricated things. And are you so stupid that you don't understand that today people like to spend their holidays at home? And by the way, it was good for us. Satisfiedly did the whole week's work." Samina laughed carelessly and comforted him. "Yes, this is the case." Hara immediately nodded her head innocently in agreement. "But Samina," she said again, "you see today, 400 Sunatas are spreading. It feels like a strange horror." She felt a little uneasy. "What kind of things did you sit down with?" Samina pointedly said that people do not like to go out on holidays. "You did not see this morning. 3 or 4 students were sitting." Sensation ran through her body on Hara's words, but she did not show her fear that she had already felt all this. So she reprimanded him and gave him a shut-up call and was satisfied that Hara would not be able to talk about this topic again. Lo came Saira. Seeing Saira coming from the front, Samina stood up quickly in imitation of her. Hara also tightened her grip on the bag and looked towards Saira, who covered the veil of silence and passed by both of them without caring, as if she didn't know. Saira, wait!" Then both of them ran after him. "Bring the diary," Hara asked, almost running away. "Yes, it's in the bag. I didn't need to go to the library because the boy was already there. He had seen that I was forgetting the diary." She spoke in a lost tone. "Boy? Who boy?" Both spoke at the same time. There was no one in the library except the 3 of us. Samina raised her eyebrows. "He was the one listening to our conversation in front of our table." The answer came in a mysterious tone. "Saira!" Samina held her hand hesitantly. By this time, she had reached the gate of the university. The darkness of the night was spreading. The people of Akkad could be seen on the road. There was no rush. Was we? "I do not understand what you are saying. There was no boy there. We were alone then. How did you find the boy at the door?" Both of them became worried about Saira. Then, seeing the rickshaw coming from the front, Hara stopped it with a gesture of her hand, and without wasting time, the 3 sat in the rickshaw. Saira turned back and looked at the handsome boy who was waving at the gate of the university. A mysterious smile covered Saira's lips. "I am not hungry," Mother said in a tired tone. Saira went to her room. Farhat Begum looked at her mother-in-law in a state of worry. It was disturbing that she had been doing the same thing for 5 days since she came home from the university. Her mood was changing. Hunger had gone like thirst, neither sitting with mother nor being close to grandmother. She kept entering the room every moment, which both of them were unable to understand. "Farhat, you should go and see. Maybe she has brought something from outside." As always, grandmother loved her only granddaughter very much. Farhat got up quickly on his disturbing tone. "Yes, good mother." Saying that, he moved towards Sarah's room. She herself probably wanted the same thing, and she had to stop when she reached the door. From the room, Sarah's soft but squeaky voice was heard as if she was very happy. But this was a cause of concern for Farhat, who is Saira talking to in an empty room in a self-talk style. Farhat pushed the door without knocking, and the door opened with a creaking sound. The room was filled with a wonderful fragrance. Syra was sitting on the bed, staring at the chair in front of her and smiling where there was no existence. Syra raised her eyes and looked at her mother. What kind of talisman was there in her glowing red eyes that Farhat was scared? "Syra, my daughter, your health is fine," leaving all the worries behind. She moved towards her daughter. He was his only child and the only support in his old age. How could he not be worried? "It will be 3 or 4 days. You are not eating or drinking anything. Your health is fine. Do you eat outside with Hira and Samina?" "While you know. Grandma likes to eat with you." She continued to speak in one breath without realizing that Syra's face showed signs of disgust, but she did not care. "Yes, Mom, I eat with them. Now he is in his old age." Came back. A compassionate conversation at night. Farhat was very satisfied. "Good milk?" he asked with compassion. "No, Mother. I don't want it now. Please allow me. I want to sleep." His words were blunt and clearly exiting. "It's okay, Sarah. You rest. You're going to university in the morning, saying that it will be done." She got up and put her hand on his head with compassion and came out. "Why were you repeatedly signaling that Mom should go out?" As soon as the door was closed, she sat on the chair in front of her and stared at the unseen power. "I will never tolerate you. I will not tolerate anyone else." He had reached her heart. He smiled. "Who understands your kindness more than me? Well, now you go. In the morning, there will be a talk in the university." Lovingly reprimanding him, seeing him also smiling and looking with loving eyes, he went out through the window. Many days passed. Farhat and Dadi were crying and crying. They were creating a fabric of worried and strange thoughts, but there was no end to them. Then one day, a strange secret was suddenly revealed to them. Farhat was just about to wash her face, and she had to leave the soap at the sound of grandmother's frightened voice. Farhat ran straight into the room because of her mother-in-law's hoarse voice. She had been sick for several days. Syra's worries disappeared from upstairs. She thought that nothing had happened to her mother-in-law. Life came to life. "Thank God you are fine." He put his hand on his heart and took a deep breath. "You scared me." "Farhat, come here, just look outside. What I am seeing, do you also see the same thing?" He continued to speak mysteriously. Farhat looked at her mother-in-law with surprise and went ahead with her steps, but at first she did not understand what her mother-in-law was saying. Then suddenly Syra, standing under the jamin tree in the courtyard, ran away and spread the jamin on her arms. Her eyes widened with terror. Some unseen force broke the jamin from the tree and threw it in her swing, and Syra ran from one place to another while laughing and caught the jamin. Do not get hurt anywhere who was cold with shock and fear. Me and Ehsan Ali got worried after hearing Farhat's words. He was the cousin of Farhat and the imam of the mosque in the same neighborhood. When someone was sick or worried in the neighborhood street, he would run to him to give him breath. Syra was her only daughter who was the last sign of her late husband. She didn't want to lose him under any circumstances. But the words of me and Ehsan Ali sent a shiver through her body, she knew. When these ghostly ghosts are attracted to a woman, they do not leave the chase until the last breath. But Syra's changing condition revealed the secret to them very soon. And now Mian Ehsan Ali's words scared him. "Sister, you should put this amulet under Sarah's pillow. If she becomes a Muslim, then it is not a matter of concern. I can control him, but if he becomes a non-Muslim jinn or an invisible creature, he will definitely do mischief. Just pray they don't become monsters. It is not easy to control. They are not easy to control." He seemed a bit worried. "Brother Ehsan, no harm will come to my daughter." Farhat's grip on the amulet became stronger. "Allah is responsible for the causes, sister. He will find a way out." He signaled to comfort her. Farhat got up with the amulet pressed in her fist and walked out of the mosque with slow steps. Karak was on the side of the house with a crowd of whispers in her heart. After graduating from the university, Saira called Samina and Hira God Hafiz, and as soon as she entered her street, her eyes fell on the person standing in front of her. "Hey you!" she chirped. "What are you doing here while I left the university?" She looked more beautiful than usual in a gray striped dress. She looked more beautiful than usual. "I came to see you today for the last time, Sarah." He sounded very sad. "After today, you will never see me." "But why? What happened that you could not meet?" She was harassed in a low voice. "I made a mistake, Safwan." "No, Saira. He didn't go forward with a longing. No, there was no mistake on your part. I liked you as much as I wanted. It came to your house. Maybe it was my fault. But it seems that fate did not agree with us." He was saddened. "After all, what happened?" "I don't know anything." Anxiety broke out in his tone. "Your mother doesn't want us to meet. Now she is going to the agents and giving a decade so that we can't meet. She made Saira sad too. My mother can't do that, Safwan. They want me so much." The tender love for his mother in his tone softened him. "What?" "Saira!" He went ahead and held Saira's hand and said indecisively, "And if he did that, so his end will be very bad, Safwan. I will end the relationship that will create distance between us." Saira replied jokingly, "Now you go. I am walking home. We will meet tomorrow." She smiled and walked towards the house, while he smiled at her with triumphant eyes. "Farhat, what do you think? This amulet will cure Saira. He will leave the pursuit of our daughter." Grandma was very worried. "Yes, Mother Ehsan Bhai has said the same. It has given me a lot of hope. Just put it in the pillow before it comes." Saying that, Farhat rushed into Saira's room and was very worried. Mian Ehsan Ali was no less than an angel to her at that time. Placing the amulet inside the pillow and comforting her with good comfort, she came out but was shocked to see Saira arguing with her grandmother. Saira sometimes spoke loudly to Dadi. He did not even deviate from anything he said. Grandmother was her beloved grandmother, and now she was answering Turkish by Turkish. Did not bear with joy. She stepped forward and slapped Saira across the face. Maybe she shouldn't have done it, but the arrow was already out of the bow. Before Saira stared at him in surprise, a bolt of lightning struck him. All he remembered was that he was standing in front of him. Seeing the slap on his face, he looked at Farhat with bloodthirsty eyes and jumped on Farhat with a blink of an eye. It took a week for Saira to regain consciousness, but by then everything was over. Grandmother and mother were killed by him, and unfortunately she herself was an eyewitness. She could not bear this shock. She went semi-mad and wandered around like a madman in the mental hospital for 3 months. I knew from the beginning. He is under the influence of a monster, but he could not tell Farhat that she will be upset. But there will be such a big loss. This was never in my imagination. Mian Ehsan Ali took a cold breath and straightened up. The disappearance of his heart indicates that the monster has claimed it as his property, so he will always keep it with him, of the heart. In case... Dr. Nasir was surprised to hear Saira's heartbreaking story. He was eager to know the secret of Ward Number 7. After hearing this sad fact, he was left in awe